Welcome back to Website and TV. I'm Gemma Houghton. Today I'm joined by Ramona Federschmid, who is PPC Account Manager at EF, a global English language course provider. And today we're going to talk about PPC and managing it on an international level. So hi Ramona, thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So as we said, EF operates globally, has presence in many different countries. So are there any particular kind of trends and behaviours that you notice around the way people search differently in different markets?
We do provide English language courses globally, and so we basically create campaigns to target people who search for studying English online. And one thing that we have found that's quite interesting is that the way people search reflects kind of the level of the English proficiency in the various countries. So EF has created this English Proficiency Index, and that shows basically the different levels of English in the different countries. And for example, Germany has quite a high proficiency versus Italy has a moderate proficiency.
Okay.
And we actually see that reflected in the search terms and in the search volume for certain keywords. So for example, Germany would have a higher volume for terms that look more for advanced courses and for looking for improve or refresh English, whereas for example, Italy would be much more focused on just general English or just beginners courses or intermediate courses. So I do think it kind of reflects, it always reflects on the culture and the sort of the market.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that of course will in turn affect the ads that you use, the messaging you send, and I guess the landing pages that you send people to.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we always try to keep a certain consistency in terms of the ads and the messaging. Mm-hmm. Because we do want to have this sort of global brand.
Yeah.
But then we also do quite a lot of ad copy testing. So for example, we have found that in Germany it works much better to have much more detailed information, much more product specific things in the ad copy, whereas in other markets, for example, like those big branding messages would work much better. And another thing that we have found is quite important is also the style of the landing pages.
Yeah.
So for example, in Europe we have a very clear modern design, and in other markets like Japan it works much better to have more images and more text.
Yeah, busier pages.
Yeah, exactly.
And you talk there about you want to have a consistent branding globally, and that's often the challenge when you operate internationally.
Yeah.
You want to manage consistency and have kind of a global strategy as well,
Yeah.
but you need to be able to tailor it for each market. So how do you balance the two? And
I think that it's always quite useful to have the big things consistent. So to have some sort of guidelines, a kind of a style that is sort of consistent, that's recognizable everywhere. But then smaller things we do adjust, and there's certain things where we allow some sort of tailoring of messages and things like that. But I think in terms of consistency, it's the benefits in the end will outweigh the disadvantages. Yeah.
And it's important, I guess, to provide clear guidelines on what needs to stay the same, what can be changed, so that everybody working on the campaigns.
Yeah.
And what about other kind of going beyond just general paid search ads? There's a lot of different things you can do now. So remarketing is one area that's particularly growing. How much do you use that, and how effective do you find that to be?
I mean, remarketing is quite a big thing because it's always quite an efficient way to improve performance. And I think it's quite useful to start thinking about website traffic and just different audiences. Mm-hmm. And then just add, for example, the blog or checkout abandoners of specific product pages. And I think it's important to test those different audiences and to see really what sort of messages work with them. Because there might be a different messages that works better with a certain audience and not so well with another one. So I think it's very much about finding a starting point and then finding out how you can optimize that and how you can create efficiencies and how you can then tailor the messages to the right people.
So testing is very important.
Yeah, testing is very important, yes.
And what about other search engine features? Obviously working internationally, it's not just Google, as well as Yandex and other search engines you might use. Are there any features that you think are particularly worth looking at?
One thing I'm quite a big fan of are ad extensions, because they're quite, Yandex has them, Bing has them, Google has them. And I think they're quite a good way to add additional information about the product, additional information about the brand. Because I think especially in paid search, we do struggle quite a lot with fitting all the information that we want into the ad text, especially with languages that have really long words like German.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite a nice way to add additional information for customers and to make your ad stand out. And I think that's nowadays quite a common feature across all the search engines. So it's a nice thing to take advantage of. Yeah.
And any other final paid search tips you could give for international specifically?
I think I kind of hinted at the sort of notion that testing is quite important.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you never really know if something works unless you have not tested it. And there's been lots of occasions where you think, oh, this is never going to work, and then actually it yields some quite good results. And I think it can also go beyond PPC, because PPC is quite a good way to start the testing, because for us it's very easy to set up a test, to get some results, analyze the data.
And you get them quite quickly as well.
You get the results very quickly, and it can help the business to see which messages work well in certain countries and which ones work well in other ones. So I think that's really my number
quite
one
important
tip.
as well to work with other departments as well, so not just see,
exactly.
share the learnings you've got from paid search campaigns and vice versa, take learnings from other areas.
Exactly, it can go to email marketing, to tailor subject lines and things like that. So it is quite important to do that. Yes.
Great. Well, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Yeah, thank you.